Welcome to another video of this channel. In this video, we are going to talk about Black Lives Matter and police, so before starting this video, please like this video and subscribe to this channel for our future updates. Black Lives Matter (B.L.M) is a decentralized political and social movement advocating for nonviolent civil disobedience in protest against incidents of police brutality, and all racially motivated violence against black people. The broader movement, and its related organizations typically advocate against police violence towards black people as well as for various other policy changes considered to be related to black liberation. In July 2013, the movement began with the use of the hashtag Black Lives Matter on social media, after the acquittal of George Zimmerman in the shooting death of African-American teen Trayvon Martin 17 months earlier in February 2012. The movement became nationally recognized for street demonstrations following the 2014 deaths of two African Americans, that of Michael Brown resulting in protests and unrest in Ferguson, Missouri, a city near St. Louis, and Eric Garner in New York City. Since the Ferguson protests, participants in the movement have demonstrated against the deaths of numerous other African Americans by police actions or while in police custody. In the summer of 2015, Black Lives Matter activists became involved in the 2016 United States presidential election. The originators of the hashtag and call to action, Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, expanded their project into a national network of over 30 local chapters between 2014 and 2016. The overall Black Lives Matter movement is a decentralized network of activists with no formal hierarchy. The movement returned to national headlines and gained further international attention during the global George Floyd protests in 2020 following the killing of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin. An estimated 15 million to 26 million people, although not all are members or part of the organization, participated in the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests in the United States, making Black Lives Matter one of the largest movements in United States history. The movement has advocated to defund the police, and invest directly into black communities and alternative emergency response models. The popularity of Black Lives Matter has rapidly shifted over time. Whereas public opinion on Black Lives Matter was net negative in 2018, it grew increasingly popular through 2019 and 2020. A June 2020 Pew Research Center poll found that the majority of Americans, across all racial and ethnic groups, have expressed support for the Black Lives Matter movement. Structure and organization. Loose structure. The phrase, Black Lives Matter, can refer to a Twitter hashtag, a slogan, a social movement, a political action committee, or a loose confederation of groups advocating for racial justice. As a movement, Black Lives Matter is grassroots and decentralized, and leaders have emphasized the importance of local organizing over national leadership. The structure differs from previous black movements, like the civil rights movement. Such differences have been the subject of scholarly literature. Activist DeRay McKesson has commented that the movement encompasses all who publicly declare that Black Lives Matter and devote their time and energy accordingly. In 2013, Patrisse Cullors, Alicia Garza, and Opal Tometi formed the Black Lives Matter network. Garza described the network as an online platform that existed to provide activists with a shared set of principles and goals. Local Black Lives Matter chapters are asked to commit to the organization's list of guiding principles, but operate without a central structure or hierarchy. Garza has commented that the network was not interested in policing who is and who is not part of the movement. Broader movement. Concurrently, a broader movement involving several other organizations and activists emerged under the banner of Black Lives Matter as well. In 2015, Jonetta Elzie, DeRay McKesson, Brittany Packnett, and Samuel Sinyangwe initiated Campaign Zero, aimed at promoting policy reforms to end police brutality. The campaign released a 10-point plan for reforms to policing, with recommendations including ending broken windows policing, increasing community oversight of police departments, and creating stricter guidelines for the use of force. The New York Times reporter, John Elligan, wrote that some activists had expressed concerns that the campaign was overly focused on legislative remedies for police violence. Movement for Black Lives. The Movement for Black Lives (M4BL) is a coalition of more than 50 groups representing the interests of black communities across the United States. Members include the Black Lives Matter Network, the National Conference of Black Lawyers, and the Ella Baker Center for Human Rights. Endorsed by groups such as Color of Change, Race Forward, Brooklyn Movement Center, Policy Link, Million Women March Cleveland, and One DC, the coalition receives communications and tactical support from an organization named Blackbird. Funding Politico reported in 2015 that the Democracy Alliance, a gathering of Democratic Party donors, planned to meet with leaders of several groups who were endorsing the Black Lives Matter movement. According to Politico, Solidare, the donor coalition focusing on movement building, and led by Texas oil fortunaire Leah Hunt Hendricks, a member of the Democracy Alliance, had donated more than $200,000 to the B.L.M. movement by 2015. Strategies and tactics. Black Lives Matter originally used various social media platforms, including hashtag activism, to reach thousands of people rapidly. Since then, Black Lives Matter has embraced a diversity of tactics. Black Lives Matter protests have been overwhelmingly peaceful. When violence does occur, it is often committed by police, or by counter-protesters. Despite this, opponents have falsely portrayed the movement as violent. Police use of excessive force. According to a study from the Bureau of Justice Statistics from 2002 to 2011, among those who had contact with the police, blacks 2.8% were more likely than whites 1.0% and Hispanics 1.4% to perceive the threat or use of non-fatal force was excessive. According to the Washington Post, police officers shot and killed 1,001 people in the United States in 2019. About half of those killed were white, and 1/4 were black, making the rate of deaths for black Americans 31 fatal shootings per million. More than twice as high as the rate for white Americans, 13 fatal shootings per million. The Washington Post also counts 13 unarmed black Americans shot dead by police in 2019. A 2019 study by Cesario et al., published in Social Psychological and Personality Science, found that after adjusting for crime, there was no systematic evidence of anti-black disparities in fatal shootings of unarmed citizens, or fatal shootings involving misidentification of harmless objects. However, a 2020 study by Ross et al. Criticizes the data analysis used in the Cesario et al. Study. Using the same data set, Ross et al. Conclude that there is significant racial bias in police shooting cases involving unarmed black suspects. This bias is not seen when suspects were armed. All Lives Matter. What happened to All Lives Matter sign at a protest against Donald Trump, January 29, 2017? The phrase, All Lives Matter, sprang up as response to the Black Lives Matter movement, shortly after the movement gained national attention. Several notable individuals have supported All Lives Matter. Its proponents include Senator Tim Scott. NFL cornerback Richard Sherman supports the All Lives Matter message, saying, "I stand by what I said, that all lives matter and that we are human beings." According to an August 2015 telephone poll, 78% of likely American voters said that the statement "All Lives Matter" was closest to their own personal views when compared to "Black Lives Matter" or neither. Only 11% said that the statement "Black Lives Matter" was closest. 9% said that neither statement reflected their own personal point of view. According to Professor David Theo Goldberg, All Lives Matter reflects a view of racial dismissal, ignoring, and denial. Professor Charles Chip Linscott said that All Lives Matter promotes the erasure of structural anti-black racism and black social death in the name of formal and ideological equality and post-racial colorblindness. Founders have responded to criticism of the movement's exclusivity, saying, "Black Lives Matter doesn't mean your life isn't important, it means that black lives, which are seen without value within white supremacy, are important to your liberation." President Barack Obama spoke to the debate between Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. Obama said, "I think that the reason that the organizers used the phrase Black Lives Matter was not because they were suggesting that no one else's lives matter. Rather, what they were suggesting was there is a specific problem that is happening in the African American community that's not happening in other communities." He also said, "That is a legitimate issue that we've got to address." What do you think of our list? Which part of the video you like the most? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go.